Ja, und nachdem wir es gespeichert haben, werden wir ins Finale schreiten, weil hier hinter ist Point of No Return.
Huh? Wait, Frederick.
Hey, where are you going?
Letztes Kapitel. Himmelsspiegel.
When a man's consciousness is fading away, he will find, without fail, that he comes face to face with his own soul and must challenge it. It is the one moment when we are able to look directly upon our naked selves. I no longer have any doubt in my mind that, for me, that time has now come. Don't you all understand? You're nothing more than fictional characters that I've created in my mind.
Frederick, what are you doing?
When I am defeated in this battle, a truth will be born in this world, and a fleeting dream will transform, slowly filling with color. And only when this ordeal is finally overcome, will my soul at last be allowed to leave my physical body. Then let us test it! Whether my spirit can become a lance, capable of piercing through every one of you. We'll see if I'm truly such a weak human being. This entire world is my dream. I will not let you destroy it.
Nice to meet you.
Ja.
Nimbostratos! You foolish creatures!
Ja, willkommen in dem finalen Endkampf und dem Grund, warum wir Frederick nicht mit in die Party genommen haben und hochgelevelt haben wie ein Bescheuerter. Das war nämlich der Fehler beim ersten Durchspielen. Frederick ist mein absoluter Lieblingscharakter. Und, wie soll ich sagen, ja, ich war sehr von ihm angetan, ich fand ihn immer toll und dann hat Freddy mir allen Ernstes das hier angetan. Er hat sich wirklich hingestellt und bekämpft uns. Weil er denkt, dass halt jeder Charakter, den man hier sieht, ich sag jetzt einfach mal...
Applaudissement Sonic!
Oh Mann, ist das ein Angriff.
Creatures.
Er denkt halt, jeder von diesen Charakteren, die hier rumstehen, sind ein Teil seiner selbst, dem er ausgeliefert ist und erlegen ist. Und das ist, den er jetzt besiegen muss. Oh.
Nimbostratos! You foolish creatures!
Und er ist echt hart zu blocken, wenn ich muss sagen darf. Und wir machen ihm ordentlich Schaden, das muss ich so sagen. Oh nee, das war nicht gut.
How pitiful. You soulless creatures.
I'm all right. Thank you.
Also wenn er wirklich einen Fokus, dann ist ganz schlecht.
How pitiful. You soulless creatures.
So, muss ihn immer von hinten angreifen, weil er kann wirklich blocken. Und ja, ich muss mich mal richtig an ihn ranstellen. Das kann ja nicht sein, dass ich hier so eine Kacke abliefere.
Applaudissement Sonic!
Na, jedenfalls sehen wir alle von Freddys Attacken, die wir sonst nicht sehen würden.
Are you catching on yet?
Irgendwie blockt er sie jetzt gerade nicht, das verstehe ich nicht ganz, aber egal. Ja, das ist ganz gut, dass sie das jetzt gemacht hat. Oh, das ging auf sie. Das ist ja böse gewesen. Ja. So ist eigentlich ganz gut. Jedenfalls, ich hatte in meiner ersten Party immer Freddy, immer Jazz. Oh, das hat gepackt. Das ist schön. Das ist nicht so gut.
How pitiful. You so
ja, wenn ich kämpfe und jetzt so konzentriert bin, bin ich total abgelenkt.
Nimbo Stratos. You foolish creatures.
Heal arrow. Bullseye. I'm all right.
Ja, also ich hatte Frederik, ich hatte Jazz und ich hatte Allegretto in der Party und ich musste dann wohl übel Polka und Viola nehmen.
Applaudissement Sonic.
Das ist nicht gut.
How pitiful. You soulless creatures.
Thank you. Death chasm.
So.
This is the power of man.
Haben wir es einfach mal so rumgemacht. Ja. Und weil Polka konnte gerade mal erst wie heißt es nochmal? Earth Heal und ja, das war alles sehr bescheiden, was ich da auf die Kette gekriegt habe und wir haben ewig gebraucht für diesen Kampf. Die Pfeile, die da eben stecken.
Nimbo Stratos. You foolish creatures.
Take that.
Na, was macht sie denn? Wo wirft sie denn hin? Einfach mal ins Gesicht hauen, so. Und wir haben ihn besiegt. Hier kannst du deinen Spieldatenschutz speichern. Wenn du den lädst, hast du folgende Optionen zur Auswahl: Ende des Spiels ansehen, neues Spiel beginnen. Hinweis, du kannst das Spiel nicht vom letzten Speicherpunkt aus neu starten. Möchtest du das Spiel? Ja, komm, speichern wir einmal zusammen. Ja, gut. Wir werden den hier behalten. Und den habe ich ja schon einmal abgeschlossen. Dann denke ich mal, werde ich jetzt hier einfach drüber speichern. Dann, ja, komm, egal. Speichern wir einfach drüber, weil wir haben ja schon einen durchgespielten. So. Dann können wir uns jetzt das Ending ansehen. Und das ist ein langes Ending. Macht euch auf. Ein sehr langes Ending fast.
I was not able to defeat you. After all, I'm glad.
Polka?
Stay back. Allegretto, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you about this before.
I couldn't tell you. I didn't think you'd take me here if I'd explain why I wanted to come. You see, I remembered. I now know the path that I have to take.
The sea. You will jump into the sea.
Oh, Mom. I can finally see what your kindness was always hiding from me. Mom, you were the one who blurred all my memories, weren't you? No. The reason I couldn't remember was because I didn't want to worry you, Mom. I guess I was subconsciously hiding them away inside myself, behind the dark clouds that hung over my own feelings.
It is your fate to go into the sea.
Yes, my fate is to go into the sea. We lived our lives looking away from what was too difficult to face. We ignored everything hurtful and only saw what we chose to see. The world we created and nurtured in our hearts became increasingly real over time. Eventually, it became so real that it clouded our eyes and hid the small truths that were all around us. Just like the shining of the stars is blotted out by the glare of the city lights. And to think it was part of my own memories. Mom, you watched over me all this time, making sure I didn't go down the wrong path. But after I left home, after I left you, I realized something. I realized that all this time you were guiding me down the wrong path. Because of your love for me as your daughter. I'm grateful, Mom. But still, you have to realize one day that water doesn't necessarily always flow downhill. It can sometimes become a high tide and surge up into the past, pushing a small stone upstream. This is the right path for me, and at the end of it, there lies a fate I cannot escape. The time has come for everything to be settled. It's my destiny, maybe even my purpose. No, it's nothing as passive as that. It's something I have to decide for myself, all on my own, right now!
Polka, wait!
It's okay. There's a place out there where I'm needed. A place that I have to illuminate, with the shining light of the Astra that lies sleeping within my heart.
Don't do it!
I must do this. And it's for the person who means the most to me. My life is nothing compared to his. Doing this is easy if it's for him.
do anything. What should I have done for her? Does this mean that dying was the only thing Polka could do? There wasn't any way we could save her? Why did Polka have to suffer? What did she ever do to deserve that? What is wrong with this world? Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! You come barging into our world without asking, and now you leave just because you feel like it! This is your dream, right? If it's a dream, then why don't you do something? Please. You have to do something.
A dream. Is this really a dream?
Thank you, everyone. I know it didn't last very long, but really, this was the best time I've ever had in my life. If I blow him a kiss, I wonder, will it reach him up there? I hope so. I really do.
Can human beings who create waves of ugly desire ever become like the seawater that's stirred by the beauty of the moon?
No one wants to touch someone like me. Someone who can use magic. After all, they might get sick too.
Well, of course the bread you're eating is much more important than the bread of a stranger. Huh? Wait. How is it any different?
All around us, the world is fading at an incredibly rapid rate. And yet, you say you aren't able to see it. Well, perhaps there's a reason for that. Perhaps you can't see it because you are fading away even faster than the world.
If you're conscious of the fact that you're having a dream, and you can actually say that this is just a dream, then can you really be sure that it's a dream at all?
Can a picture taken through a bent piece of glass called a lens really accurately reflect what happens at a single moment in time? It seems to me that your eyes would have to be pretty bent themselves for that to be possible.
Something that people think is useful but can actually be harmful in the long run? Well, the only thing I can think of right now is mineral powder. But I'm sure there are lots of other things out there. Maybe if you think about it for a while, you can come up with some things that I don't know about.
I think that everyone knows deep down that some things that might seem useful to us right now could actually be hiding a danger to the future. And yet there are many people out there who simply refuse to accept that. Are people really so foolish that they aren't willing to sacrifice those little conveniences for the sake of the future?
Atomkraft so am Rande als Beispiel.
If people are too deeply involved in a problem, is it really not possible for them to realize what's wrong until it's too late to do anything about it?
The standards for justice in this world, are decided amidst the driving ambitions and turbulent emotions of a small handful of people who just happen to possess the greatest influence. Well, you certainly have been born into a difficult era.
A lifetime to build, a moment to destroy. Will human beings ever become masters of creation, or are we only destined for destruction?
I was acting out a part up until the moment I died. Do you plan to spend your whole life pretending to be someone you're not? Are you sure you know the difference between things that can be forgotten right away, like letters written in the sand, and really important things that must never be forgotten, like words carved into stone? It's an important distinction to make.
Without realizing it, people tend to act in ways that suit their own best interests, and before they know it, they've turned all their efforts to seeing just how powerful or successful they can become. It can't always have been like that. Things must have been different in the beginning. Try to remember the feelings you had when you first started out.
Can't we make better use of the energy we spend maintaining our feelings of mistrust? There must be a way. If we could all do that somehow, I think it would make it much easier to live a life filled with light.
When I realized that I had no hope of beating Claves, I ran away. What about you? Are you like me? Do you run away from situations where you know you can't win too?
The view of Retardondo is so beautiful at night. But which part of that view is the most beautiful thing about it? The flickering of the city lights below? Or the twinkling of the stars in the night sky above?
As the leader of Baroque, I am responsible for making the people of my country suffer under the fear of impending war. The citizens of Baroque are innocent people, whose only crime is living in the kingdom I rule. And there are others in this world who suffer similar misfortune. Remember to be very grateful if you are lucky enough to happen to live in a country at peace.
I believe that the future holds infinite hope for all of us. So no matter what the odds, however slim the chance, I always try to hold on to that hope. I would never want to give up on something without at least trying. What about you? What would you have done in my place? Would you still draw a fortune if you already knew what it was going to say? Suppose you could not be sure whether or not there was any ground behind you. Knowing that, would you still have the courage to take a step backward?
Sie schielt ein
At
bisschen,
certain
oder?
times in life, does it not take much more courage to take a step back than to take a step forward? Would you be courageous enough to do it? If you live with your eyes closed to whatever is difficult to face, does that mean those things don't exist?
People with brightly glowing astras always have to suffer in the end. Is the place where you are a miserable world like that? Don't you want to change it? You can't just sit back and accept a destiny of death. You have to fight back, resist. You have to try as hard as you can. After all, that's what life's all about, isn't it?
You can give up when it's really, truly, absolutely the very end. Until then, You gotta try and do whatever you can. I guarantee that you still have time.
That's right. You still have time.
Absolutely. Now is when it really begins. Just take a moment to steady yourself. I know what it feels like to have a future filled with doubt. To feel overwhelmed. To think it's all over. To want to give up on everything. But there's no use just thinking about it. You can't hesitate. You need to act upon it. Since in the end, all you can do is try as hard as you can.
You don't have to rush. There's still time. You have infinite potential after all. I promise you, even now, you can still do it. All you have to do is the very best you can. I guarantee you still have time.
Death is a reality that is far too real. I've walked this dreamlike journey within a dream, so that once and for all, I could accept that. And now, at this moment, all things shall reach their finale.
Mr. Chopin's time of death, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mommy, why are there waves in the sea?
Well, darling, there are waves because of the moon.
Because of the moon?
That's right. The moon charms the water in the ocean with its beauty. And because the moon is so beautiful, the seawater just can't sit still.
Is that true? Really?
Really? Don't you feel your heart start fluttering inside of you when you look at the moon?
I do! What about the puddle? Will it make waves when the moon comes out too?
No, dear. There's not enough water. You need lots and lots of water, like the ocean, before it can make any real waves.
Oh, I see. But that's weird. Why can't a little bit of water make waves too?
I won't let you die, Polka. After all, you've only been alive for 14 years. A 14-year-old girl must live her life.
The amount of water is the most important part of creating waves. That can be said about people as well. There are many things in this world that can charm people's hearts, just like the moon charms the sea. Things like wealth, vanity, status, image, and power.
When the sun is out, they hide in their buds, and then open their blossoms only when it is truly important.
Bigger and stronger.
Drawing in even the faintest amount of light, they decisively embody it, and in doing so, reflect something that people can never see. They wait for the moment when the world is trapped in darkness, and then blossom with glowing light.
Terrible conflicts.
On the grassy plain, they paint a picture of the star-filled night sky that was blotted out by the city lights.
I guess.
Isn't it pitch black around you? Isn't the world covered in darkness?
But if something like that
Now,
ever were to happen
come.
during your life,
It's
your
2
only
o'clock in the
choice
morning.
might be to jump into that sea.
The time for you to blossom has come.
Because when you do, those big waves will calm down.
Do you remember?
It may be
You said it was
difficult
up to
at
me
times, but
whether
if
I
you
wanted to
try
call
your
them
best,
Heaven's Mirror
you'll bring joy to the
death
person
lights.
who means the most to you.
Really?
I'm still allowed to choose, am I not?
Okay!
Well, then I shall make my definitive choice. Right now.
Though it's insulting to compare
That flower that so resembles you.
the moon to the ugly
That
waves
flower
of
that boldly challenges the darkness. I choose to call it Heaven's Mirror.
Oh, Mommy, I'm sorry, but I think someone's calling me.
I see. Then you must have met the person who is the perfect match for your Astra. Well, he's the person that you choose to believe in, so I'm sure he must be wonderful. I did so want to see you on your wedding day. But now, I suppose the only thing I can do for you is to tell you this. Come back someday and do your best.
Okay, Mommy. I'll see you later then.
Have I been able to become more like the seawater that is stirred by the beauty of the moon? Thank you, Polka dear. Please, be happy.
It's Polka. She's glowing.
Polka.
Oh, schön. Und damit wären wir am Ende von Eternal Sonata angekommen. Ja, Patrick Seiss, eine sehr tolle Beat, wurde von einer Frau gesprochen, das finde ich jetzt auch sehr interessant. Ja, jedenfalls, was ist zu diesem Ending zu sagen? Und einige denken bestimmt, what the fuck ist da jetzt gerade passiert? Wie ich halt schon im Endkampf versucht habe, ein bisschen zu erklären, versuche ich das jetzt auch nochmal so. Also diese Welt, in der wir jetzt gespielt haben, war wirklich nur eine Fiktion von Frederik. Diese ganzen Charaktere, denen wir begegnet sind, diese ganzen Umstände, hat man ja auch durch diesen geschichtlichen Einschub immer gesehen, war quasi eine Verarbeitung von seinem Leben. Und diese Charaktere haben immer einen Teil von seinem Leben symbolisiert oder Menschen, die er jemals getroffen hat, Menschen, die ihm was bedeutet haben. Und somit halt auch Polka. Polka hat quasi seine kleine Schwester symbolisiert. Polka ist Frédéric Chopins kleine Schwester, die im Alter von 14 Jahren, ich glaube, auch an Tuberkulose oder Ähnlichem gestorben ist. Und ja, dieser Kreislauf mit diesem Baum, um das jetzt mal, also dieser Traum, das, was wir gespielt haben, hat sich quasi immer wiederholt. Den ganzen Todeskampf von Frédéric Lang in seinem Fieberwahn hat er immer wieder die Geschichte, die wir jetzt erlebt haben, immer wieder durchgeträumt. Und er wurde halt am Ende nie besiegt. Und Polka ist quasi jedes Mal für ihn gestorben. Und jetzt in diesem Durchspielgang, sage ich jetzt einfach mal, also das heißt, in diesem Traum, der sich halt wieder erneut wiederholt hat, haben wir ihn geschlagen oder wir haben ihn auch vorher geschlagen, ich weiß es nicht. Auf jeden Fall hat er sein Schicksal erkannt. Er hat erkannt, dass es jetzt Zeit ist zu gehen. Er hat erkannt, dass sein Leben jetzt vorbei ist. Und deshalb brauchte Polka diese Qualen, beziehungsweise seine kleine Schwester, diese Qualen nicht mehr auf sich zu nehmen. Und deshalb hat er seiner kleinen Schwester das Leben geschenkt, was er ihr immer gewünscht hat. Mit einem, ich sag mal, netten jungen Herren zusammen. Ohne halt zu sterben und alleine zu sein. Ja, er hat ihr halt das Happy End gegeben, was sie im wahren Leben nicht hatte. Zu den anderen Charakteren kann ich leider nicht mehr viel sagen. Aber ich denke, das ist so der Haupt-What-the-fuck-Moment. Also als ich das damals das erste Mal durchgespielt habe, habe ich erstmal nur Bahnhof verstanden. Und ich weiß auch, dass viele diesem Spiel sehr kritisch gegenüberstehen, weil ja, Mineralpulver und all das, wie geht's denn da jetzt weiter? Das ist eigentlich alles... Also eigentlich diese ganze Storyline, die wir erfahren haben, ist nichtig. Es ging halt einfach die ganze Zeit in diesem Spiel nur darum, die Beziehung zwischen den Charakteren, die Beziehung zwischen den Charakteren zu Chopin. Klar gab es da jetzt auch Anspielungen, zum Beispiel hier dieser Möchtegern-Krieg, der da vor der Tür steht, und die Revolution, das sind halt alles Dinge, die Chopin in seinem Leben erlebt hat, aber es war halt einfach nur eine bunte, sinnbildliche Darstellung davon. Und man hat ja jetzt auch in den Monologen von den Charakteren am Ende dann gehört, dass diese ganzen Sachen, die da gesehen worden sind, sinnbildliche Darstellungen dafür waren, dass es Dinge im Leben gibt, die man überdenken sollte. Dieses ganze Spiel soll einen wirklich zum Denken regen. Dieses Spiel soll einen dazu bringen, über sein Leben nachzudenken, über das, was man hat, über das, was man teilen könnte, über das, ja, die Augen zu öffnen, dass das Leben nicht so schlecht ist, wie einige das vielleicht sehen möchten und dass es immer eine Chance gibt und dass man im Leben nie aufgeben sollte und dass du nicht alleine bist mit deinen Problemen, sondern dass es viele gibt, die diese Probleme haben und dass man sich nicht mit vorgefertigten Lösungen und Antworten zufrieden geben soll, dass man Sachen hinterfragen soll, dass man wirklich nach der besten Lösung suchen soll, dass man nicht einfach nur so spontane, momentan Lösungen machen soll. Ich meine, es gibt in Deutschland so viele Beispiele dafür, auch hier mit diesem Mineralpulver. Ich sage nur Atomkraft, das, wie ich schon vorhin gesagt habe. Das ist ein nicht zu Ende gedachtes Konzept, weil wir bis heute nicht hundertprozentig wissen, was bei einem Atomreaktorunfall wirklich passiert. Und genauso, ich könnte auch ein anderes Beispiel bringen, unser Rentensystem oder sonstiges. Deutschland ist vollgepackt mit solchen halbfertigen Ideen. Und darüber sollte man sich mal Gedanken machen und das möchte das Spiel einen sagen. Ende. Das Spiel möchte keine unglaublich innovative und tolle Geschichte erzählen. Dieses Spiel möchte einfach nur, dass du und dass ich und dass wir alle nachdenken. Und wenn ihr noch Fragen habt zu dem Spiel, schreibt es in die Kommentare. Ich werde das sammeln. Ich werde vielleicht nochmal ein extra Video machen. Wenn sich das mit den Fragen in die Grenzen hält, dann werde ich das halt in den Kommentaren beantworten. Aber ansonsten möchte ich das Projekt so beenden. Allen euch danken, die zugeschaut haben. Allen danken, die fleißig mitkommentiert haben. Und alle dazu ermutigen, etwas mehr über sich und über andere und über sein Handeln und das von anderen und über seine Zukunft und das, was man daraus machen möchte, nachzudenken. Bye.
The shape of life. One day, the caterpillar asked the snail, "Mr. Snail, you know many things. Could you tell me, what kind of shape is the shape of life?" The snail nodded and answered, "Well, Mr. Caterpillar, I think that maybe life is red, like a ripe tomato." The caterpillar laughed happily and said, "No, Mr. Snail, I didn't ask about the color of life. I asked you about the shape." The snail nodded and pondered, and then he answered, "Well, Mr. Caterpillar, I think that maybe it has a sweet scent, like a pot of honey." The caterpillar let out a disappointed sigh and said, "No, Mr. Snail, I didn't ask about the scent of life. I asked you about the shape." The snail nodded and pondered and thought some more, and then he answered, "Well, Mr. Caterpillar, I think that maybe it murmurs like a babbling brook." The caterpillar finally broke down in sorrowful tears, shook his head, and said, "No, Mr. Snail, I didn't ask about the sound of life. I asked you about the shape." The snail nodded and pondered, and at long last he finally answered, "Well, Mr. Caterpillar, I think that maybe it has a sharp, sweet flavor, like a juicy cherry." Losing his patience, the caterpillar grew very angry and said, "If you don't want to answer me, then fine. I'm not going to ask you any more, Mr. Snail. Goodbye." And with that, the caterpillar turned around and went home. When he was gone, the snail nodded and said, "Oh, Mr. Caterpillar, you already knew the answer." happiness, disappointment, sorrow, anger. These are the sights, smells, sounds, and tastes. Life can take on many different shapes.